tapped in. See if I can make this a little bit bigger for the meantime. But hey, yo, what's up, y'all? Um, yeah, I've been doing some research lately. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's well. Could we change this in the middle of the game? I don't know. I doubt it. But okay, just trying to figure some things out. We got the mobile podcast jumping off. What's up? What's up, everybody? Yo, oh, I need a tag. Oh, girl, man, bro, almost lost a friend. What's up, y'all? Tap in, tap in, tap in, because I got some shit to talk to y'all about today. Y'all, we are okay. I really don't even know how to start it, man. Like for real, the stuff that I know, the shit that I know that's going on, it will blow your mind. Like, and y'all seeing it, like, you know what I'm saying? It's one thing to know some stuff, but then to actually see stuff play out. I told y'all, I'm like, man, when they start doing all that to the Mexicans, y'all have to understand that's what they used to do to us, but worse. So there is no doubt in my mind when they was doing that to Mexicans, it's like, okay, we next. And like, and people were like, okay, what is he talking about? We next. They can't ship us out of the country. No, they can't. But that's just so disingenuous because y'all know they can't ship out to the country. I don't mean that. I'm talking about what the police can do to us. I'm talking about being jailed for no reason. Have you ever seen that movie Life? That's what them people was in there for. Half them black men was in there for no reason because America wanted free labor out of them. Y'all didn't get that out the movie, out the comedy Life. They was in there for absolutely nothing. And that's how they used to get us jailed back in them days. Same how they're jailing these Mexicans, throwing them in jail for nothing. That's how they used to do us. It's just bro, a lot of this stuff, that's one thing about racism. Racism is very lazy. It don't change. It stays the same. It does the same thing. It stays the same. Ugly, nasty. You know what I'm saying? I said yesterday, and think about this. I want everybody who's on here who have half a brain, think about this. Um, Basically, the GOP sat there and watched all that stuff happen to Martin. Okay, sorry. The GOP sat there and watched all that stuff happen with Martin Luther King, um, uh, Malcolm X, and basically it was like, yo, we gonna wait and plot it out. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna wait and plot some shit out. We're not gonna cause a big stir. So basically, what I'm saying is they've been quiet for 40 years, for 40 years, because back then it was nasty. It was so nasty that they shot a reverend, assassinated a reverend. That's how nasty racism was back then. A lot of y'all is not catching that because you see life as it is today. Well, people are calm. They're like, I don't want to cause a ruckus. They was like, we just want to be calm. So people didn't say shit. But you have to understand, people out here, when it comes to racism, they do not like y'all. Period. Point blank. Period. They do not like us. I mean, say y'all. They do not like us. Period. I don't know what you you want to put it in. Take a Karen, for example. Do you think a Karen has ever once been like, yeah, I like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Y'all got to be real. But I got this video I want to show because I was talking about, like, we are in a police state. They already deployed the armed force, the National Guard to the cities, right? So now what they're doing, and I can never get Rhonda. I want Rhonda to understand that one of the specific things that they are doing with the military, one of the specific things that they're doing is they have bases everywhere in America, right? But no activity goes on outside of those bases. No activity as far as them policing anything. So what they're doing now is they're expanding their bases, wherever those bases are. Let's say North Carolina or South Carolina. They're expanding those bases 100 miles past where they're at, 100 miles. So that means that the military can leave that base that they're at and police that city for 100 miles, bro. Do you understand that? That's not coming from me. That's coming from your government. We talk about FEMA. They just took, what did it say, 300,000, $200,000 from FEMA to build this ballroom for Donald Trump. They took that money from FEMA, bro. And you remember when Biden was in office and Trump was like, man, Biden ain't giving FEMA all the money supposed to be giving. He robbing from FEMA. He doing this from FEMA. And they was giving FEMA all the money they had to give FEMA. And President Trump was complaining. And as soon as he got in office, he said, I'm shutting down FEMA. And they taking the money for themselves. Bro, I mean, just that example right there. I'm not, don't forget about anything else. That example right there is bogus as fuck. But I got family members in Chicago, who St. Louis, who needed FEMA money. He finna build a ballroom with the money that was supposed to go to them, to the flooding victims. You just had Texas with all of those white little girls, and y'all, it's like y'all don't want to say nothing because y'all don't want to embarrass Trump. All them white women, little girls, perished and didn't have to. But Elon Musk went in there and cut everything, cut the emergency system, cut everything. And that's what y'all not saying. If it was a black man in office, y'all would have rioted in the streets. All them little white girls killed. But it was Trump, and y'all ain't said nothing. Not one single word on Facebook. Not even a shout out to the families. Man, I'm really praying for them little young girls. Y'all didn't do none of that stuff. So that tells me that y'all are willing to step on anybody. Anybody. To get to what y'all want is power, supremacy. Some people gotta die so y'all can get what y'all want. Some people have to starve so y'all can get what y'all want. Some programs have to be snatched away from people. 71 million people have to be kicked off of insurance so y'all can get what y'all want. It's supremacy. You have to keep everybody underneath you, who you consider underneath you, poor and struggling and never able to make it outside of that bubble. You feel what I'm saying? Because you best believe. Here's my thing, and I'm gonna show this video. Here's my thing, and this is I'm gonna be straight up because I don't really say a lot because I don't want people to get mad at me. But you know what? Everybody has left, so I might as well talk. I might as well say what I need to say because it ain't working to try to be nice to y'all and give y'all little tidbits. Because all you're gonna do is say, "Oh, you lying, you're a liar," and you're gonna shut me down. So I'm from now on, I'm gonna start telling the truth because my network is failing, and I feel like I'm holding back a lot of shit. But here's my thing of what happened. What was happening for years since America was born? Y'all always been on top. Black people and Mexicans were starting to reach and match where y'all was at economically across the board. You had black people living where white people were living at. They had big houses. When I went to St. Louis, I saw all these big houses. Like, damn, these white folks living large out here. And in the back, one of the biggest houses was a black girl who probably had her education, her shit together in her house. You like, damn, that's your house? That's how we was getting it. And we still are. They seen that. And instead of them saying, yeah, we need to share shit with y'all, we had the advantage for so long. Now we know we need to share with y'all, the Mexicans, the black people. We need to just, everybody share together, everybody equal. Instead of them doing that, they said, let's burn this bitch down. Let's burn this motherfucking country down. And that's what they doing right now, burning this country down. All right, so let me show y'all this video, and I want y'all to tell me what y'all think.
You can narrow or widen the aperture as much as you want. You can look at the very big picture or the small local picture anywhere in the country. And we try to do as much of both of those things as we can every week here on this show. But whether you're looking at small-scale local stories or the biggest picture stories about what's happening in our country, the story is the same, and it is now an undeniable thing. We have crossed a line. We are in a place we did not want to be, but we are there. The thing we were all warning about for the last few years is not coming, it is here. We are in it. This is what it likes, it turns out. This is what it's like, right? I mean, it's August, it's a Monday, every day the sun rises and the sun sets, and there are, sports and movies, and there are new hit songs, there are scandals here and there are crimes. There's everybody's personal quotient of family drama and health worries and money worries and falling in and out of love and in and out of faith. Life has not stopped, and none of our personal lives have stopped. But also, at the same time, life in the United States is profoundly changing, is profoundly different than it was even 6 months ago. Because we do now live in a country that has an authoritarian leader in charge. We have a consolidating dictatorship in our country. And it sounds melodramatic to say.
As strong as she is, she broke.
I know. But just go with that for a minute, right? Think in melodramatic terms. Think in cinematic terms. Imagine the cartoon-level caricature of what you think a dictatorship looks like. I mean, it's secret police, right? A massive, anonymous, unbadged, literally masked, totally unaccountable internal police force that apparently has infinite funding, but no identifiable leadership. And they act in ways designed to instill maximum fear and use maximum force. I mean, when you imagine an authoritarian country, right, what you imagine is masked secret police breaking people's car windows and snatching people off the streets and out of church parking lots and courtroom hallways and taking them away with no charges, no notice, no paperwork, no explanation, not letting them see lawyers, and then moving them secretly to what are effectively black site prisons, where they won't tell you who's there and where no one's allowed in to see what's going on. Right? In that kind of a cartoon caricature of an authoritarian country, the one you might have imagined in melodramatic and cinematic terms ever before we got here, you would expect, right, that you'd have a scapegoated minority group blamed for all things. In our case, immigrants, right? And the new extraordinary powers and shows of force by the secret police, among other things. All these extraordinary powers and shows of force will be framed as necessary to stop this terrible internal enemy, right? Frame everything as immigration enforcement. Because for immigration enforcement, not only is all force justified, but maximum force is preferred. And they're trying to make it into a national entertainment to threaten to feed immigrants to alligators in South Florida. Right? They're making them eat off dishes on the floor like they're dogs. The Chrome Detention Center in Florida. They want us to like that, right? The Republican Party wants to sell T-shirts about that. And if you think it's only about immigrants, take the president's own word for it when he says the homegrowns are next. And then he starts musing publicly about which Americans he intends to strip of their citizenship. In a cartoon caricature of an authoritarian country, displays of military might are not just for the country's external enemies. They're for the country's own people, right? Because in an authoritarian country, you turn military force inward toward the people of that country. And so now we've got these large and expanding military zones in multiple states where they have extended the legal boundaries of nearby military bases to include hundreds and hundreds of miles of nearby land. So they can give active duty U.S. troops the power to arrest and search people on U.S. soil. They're now doing that over hundreds of miles of territory in multiple states. Both The Intercept and The New Republic in the last couple of days have had new reporting about Trump administration plans to permanently integrate the active duty U.S. military into, of course, immigration enforcement. So we will have our own U.S. military troops mobilized on U.S. soil, U.S. military force turn inward on us in an ongoing and permanent way. For immigration enforcement, right? And,
It's over.
like they tried in LA, to put down protests against the government, because those protests relate to immigration enforcement.
It's over.
What else do you think of when you think of authoritarian countries? I mean, in the worst case, you think of death camps. We don't have those. What we do have are black site prison camps, including huge new ones that are designed to hold thousands of people. The biggest ones we've yet had have just been bidded out to contractors for construction, and they're building them now on U.S. military bases. And they say they want states to build them all over the country. In the cartoon caricature of an authoritarian state, there's secret police, there's prison camps, there's the scapegoated enemy on whom all things must be blamed and against whom all things are justified. Protests must be criminalized. Media must be intimidated into saying and doing what the leader wants, or they must be shut down, or both. Universities must be intimidated into saying and doing what the leader wants, or they must be shut down, or both. Law firms must be intimidated into not opposing him and saying and doing what he wants, or they must be shut down. And for institutions like that, it's not just the boldest or most strident critics of the president who must be shut down. It's the most mainstream, right? It's the most prestigious, the most credible, because that's what's so dangerous about them. There can't be any source of authority. There can't be any source of authoritative statements of fact that compete with what the leader insists must be the new truth. And so government departments will be stripped of their experts, and he will fire his way through them until they tell him things that he wants to be told. If you want to be a four-star general or admiral in this military, you must now pass a personal one-on-one interview with the president, who personally will decide if you are to his liking or not to be a flag officer in this military. The intelligence agencies will say that his strike on Iran obliterated their nuclear program because he likes that word, obliterated, and he said it once. And therefore, because he said it, it must be true. And if you say otherwise, you will be fired. The Justice Department will say that the president won not just the last election, but he also won the one before that, the one he actually lost. And anybody who points out that Russia tried to help him win the one before that should be criminally charged for saying that, even though it's true.
Damn.
We are not heading towards something like this. We are there. It is here. It is the environment in which we are now living. And so, given that you now live in a country with an authoritarian leader, the question is, what can you do for your country? The question is no longer how to prepare for this risk or how to try to avert it, but rather how to fight it now that it is here and in effect. And, you know, we're awake now. It's clear. We're all living here. It's very obvious that this is not going to get better on its own. This is not going to fix itself. An authoritarian just seeks more and more and more power throughout not just politics, but through all of society, systematically trying to eliminate any effective means of opposing him. This is a one-way ratchet if we leave it up to him. But that at least does give us some clarity for Americans who do not want to leave it up to him. Right? We're beyond waiting and seeing now. It is clear what is going on. It is clear now that these small d democratic tools that we've got right now as a country, these are as good as it is going to get. We are never going to have more resources to fight for our country than we do right now. And so Americans are using those tools, and it is worth paying attention to the ways they are doing it. They are filming the secret police and publicizing everything they are doing. Even when the secret police scream and threaten and say, "You're not allowed to film us," they are filming them. They are following them everywhere they go. They are not letting them have the power of surprise. They are refusing to be afraid to watch them and record them and show what they are doing. We have opposition politicians, Democratic politicians, insisting on being let in, going to the black site immigration prisons and demanding to be let into them. We have Americans protesting outside those facilities and showing up and calling the media and pulling every string they can when someone they know or someone they know of gets taken. Americans are making it as sticky and annoying and awkward and embarrassing as possible for these guys, and that slows them down. Americans are badgering elected Republicans everywhere they're willing to show their faces, including tonight in Nebraska, Republican Congressman Mike Flood holding a town hall with his red state constituents. Watch.
Hi, I implore you to be quiet so that we can hear his responses. Remember, Mike's coming up for a re-election, and we'd really like to know what his responses are. I'm Rosina. I write you emails with concerns of your voting behavior regarding Trump and his actions. You support him, especially confirming the cabinet. Your responses are riddled with misinformation and lies. I fact check you, and then I send the responses back. And I get crickets. If I am fact checking them because they are wrong in your response, I send them back to you, and I get crickets. I get kind of bummed. And this is not about partisan. This is about issues, because we're about to lose our democracy.
My question is fiscal. With $450 million FEMA dollars being reallocated to open Alligator Alcatraz and $600 million taxpayer FEMA dollars being used to now open more concentration camps, and ICE burning through $8.4 million a day to illegally detain people, how much does it cost for fascism? How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
That was in Nebraska tonight at a town hall held by Republican Congressman Mike Flood, him hearing from his constituents tonight. We have total clarity now on what Trump's intentions are for the country. But I mean it when I say we. The country gets it and is more against it than they've ever been. And opposing this administration and what Trump is trying to do is turning out to be the story of the century.
All right, y'all, we're going to leave it there. Thank y'all for watching.